y'all, good evening. I decided to get started a little bit earlier because this is probably going to end up being kind of a long stream. I don't do a lot with acrylics, and now I'm in Southeast Louisiana, so dry times are going to be kind of weird. I am also dual recording this, so I have the webcam up here and then I have a secondary camera up here. So I hope to be able to release a time-lapse version of this where it's just like beat by beat by beat soon. So originally we were going to do this stream on Friday evening, but volume 2 was supposed to come in and then it never arrived. So we spent all day waiting for it and canceled plans waiting for it. And then Saturday I was going to do the stream, and so it is Sunday evening. I am finally on the upswing of a migraine. So hopefully I'm feeling better, and hopefully this will be a pretty good stream. Probably not the best stream ever, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So I have 2 really cheap ornaments from Dollar Tree that I have already prepared, and I have prepared them by spraying a matte fixative to them. That's going to give the acrylics and the POSCA markers something to stick to. It also creates a frosted appearance. If you don't want this frosted appearance on your finished acrylic painted ornament, you can spray a glossy spray. They even make glitter sprays, which are pretty cute. The materials I'm working with today are going to be pretty inexpensive. I have a plate stand also from Dollar Tree that I was mostly using to hold the ornaments. I may also use them to allow the ornaments to dry so they're not touching anything, or they're touching minimal things. And it just comes up high enough that it's not actually touching my desk surface. It's from Dollar Tree. I don't care. I can also bend it back just a little bit so that it's not quite so close. Joseph says the holidays always cause migraines. It is not the holidays causing migraines. So I've also attached a very inexpensive ornament hook to this so that it'll hang. These don't come with the hook, but they sell the hooks like everywhere. You can also use a bent paper clip for that if you want to. I have a old tape ring that I've scavenged. I thought that could be handy for holding the ornaments while I'm painting them. I have a cup of clean water in a non-spill cup, so fingers crossed. Usually the cups you guys see me use on camera are click cups, but those are for my watercolors and I don't want to like cross-contaminate. I also have a range of very cheap acrylics because I am not an acrylic artist. I don't have all that much interest in acrylic, like painting acrylics for fine art. So I have some folk art acrylic paints from Walmart, very inexpensive. I think it's less than $10 for 12 of these. I also have a selection of ye good old apple barrel paints. So we've got them in various colors. I was going to paint pumpkins at Halloween for you guys, and my health just really didn't allow that to happen, so hence we even have some glow in the dark. I also have some really fun special effects paints like color shift paints, glitter paints. All of these are really cheap. Some of these are folk art, some of these are apple barrel, so there's nothing in here, and all of these are gonna get reused when we do another acrylic pour video. I also have some very inexpensive folk art brushes. These are also from Walmart. I didn't want to ruin my nice brushes. Again, I'm not really too much of an acrylic person myself, so I didn't see any point in buying the most expensive. So I got some what seems like pretty decent golden Taklon synthetics. I've just been keeping everything in one place until I actually had time to do this. Recently I got a wood burning kit, and I thought it could be a fun hobby to do like something involving wood and wood burning and painting. I don't know, it's just a hobby. I'm probably not gonna sell it. So I haven't given it all that much thought. So some inexpensive brushes that I'm going to probably have to wash the sizing out of. And I also have some POSCA markers. Now I have more POSCA markers than these, but they're not on camera because they're gonna take up a lot of room. So I thought it would be smart to just kind of pick out what I thought I needed the most and then kind of work from there. Ooh, I'm looking for something else that I'm probably going to need a pencil. One of the upsides of basically frosting this is you can draw on it with a pencil. And I also have that is me too, honestly. Between allergies and family stuff, it's my life giving me migraines. Okay, so I have some ideas for what I want to do with the ornaments. Normally I would do thumbnails. I can do thumbnails for you guys if you guys are interested in that. I'm really kind of leaning towards the cute frog for one of them, and then maybe a satsuma for the other. If you guys don't know what a satsuma is, it is a orange citrus fruit that is pretty popular down here in Louisiana. It grows really well during this time of year, and it's not from here originally. It's from literally Satsuma, but it's pretty common, and traditionally, at least in the West, giving citrus fruits as part of a Christmas gift is seen as like a sign of good hospitality and cheer during the winter season. So I thought a Satsuma might be a pretty cute one. So I already have an idea for the frog. I just need all of my post-it notes end up somewhere else. Okay, so I have my little post-it here. I'm just going to use this so that I have a good kind of baseline. So I was thinking like the froggy mouth and then cheeks, and this would be cream. And these would be like pink, because I'm thinking like Lily from Animal Crossing. And then either really cute dots for eyes. Wow, it looks a lot like Mudkip, I know. Either dots for eyes or grab an eraser. I think a cat face might be more energy than I have tonight. It'd be very cute, but the thing about a cat face, I did think about doing a cat because I have, I think, Bowie in there somewhere. Yeah, Bo's my cat. I would have to attach like foam or felt ears, and while that would be incredibly cute, I am running on 2 spoons tonight. So another cute frog thing would be like the slit eyes, like that would be kind of cute, and then maybe the tongue hanging out from the bottom. Of course, with the satsuma, I would want to do a leaf, but I could always do the leaf again at another time. Anyway, I kind of wanted to go to Dollar Tree and pick up more of these for the marble pour, because I wanted to do like 4 ornaments, and I do have 2 over there, but I didn't do the spray mat. And you want to do the spray mat on these ahead of time so that it has plenty of time to dry. In fact, I did the spray mat yesterday. I did 2 coats. And I don't care about the uneven coverage. If you care, like if you're gonna want a like a clear area at the top, you can actually mask the area you want off with masking fluid and then spray that, and that could be really pretty too. Or you could even use like post-it note, the sticky part of post-it notes to do a mask. That would be a really cute idea, and then you can leave those parts transparent. But for simplicity's sake, and since this is my first time painting an ornament, I thought it would be best if I went really, really simple with this and straightforward. So I think I'm gonna do the frog face and the satsuma, although I love the a cat wearing a Santa hat. It's a very cute idea, and I may revisit that at another time. And for the satsuma, I might do either paper or felt leaf, and I'll probably end up doing that off stream, but on this secondary camera that I have over here, and just composite the 2. I do love citrus scents myself, but I don't, I prefer to wear floral scents personally, but I love citrus scents to smell. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the satsuma because that's gonna be a little bit easier than the frog face. And I'm gonna save the frog face for after. And I'm gonna go ahead and pick some colors that would be useful. For a satsuma. And I'm also gonna go grab a mixing surface. Migraines, they make you so smart, don't they? Not smart. Now, I don't care if I get this dirty. This is a Teflon coating and I can just rip it off and resurface it. But I want something that I can mix my paints in. I'm also going to go ahead and remove my ornament. Now, if you have the ability, doing a dip to get the orange on it would probably be just really great for this. I don't have the ability to do that. I don't think I have the knowledge set to do that, so I am not going to do that. Actually, let me hang my ornament. I think it might be easier to do the orange base coat that I want to do. All right, so I'm gonna go get a mixing surface and I'll be right back. Enjoy the Christmas tunes. And I know these look a little bit dingy. I think they're just stained though. You know, I actually really enjoy doing crafts, and having an art focused YouTube channel has kind of kept me away from doing other things that I enjoy. So, you know, it's nice to kind of get back to that. All right, so some of these are going to be open and some of them are not. Nope, never mind. I was wrong. Someone could do that, yeah, if I had orange spray paint and a well ventilated area. That is definitely another way to do that, for sure. So, there's been kind of a change of plans with tomorrow's. I'm debating whether or not I want to take this thing off, but I think I will use it to hold it. There's been a bit of a change of plans with tomorrow's chill stream. Originally, we were going to do a shadow box project, and then maybe some acrylic marble pouring inside of these plastic ornaments. But I think due to just some stuff that happened, instead we're going to do that manga kit from Five Below, and Joseph might be joining us. So I know I said I wasn't going to do the manga kit as a chill stream. I wanted to do it for something else. But this has been a very interesting holiday season with many twists and turns. Wish I could do a better job holding this still. You guys see the migraine shakes. Those are fun. And I'm going to do a couple coats of this because you guys can just see how all over the place it is. You could also do a gesso or like a white primer spray paint for that. I've been trying to avoid buying a bunch of stuff. I say that, It doesn't always happen, but I try to avoid buying stuff that I'm not going to use for anything else. So like orange spray paint would have definitely been one of those things I would not have used for anything else. I've also never done spray paint water marbling. Like I've seen people do it in like those easy craft videos that make something that's actually very challenging look super simple. But I've never done it, and I have enough craft and art experience to know that those super simple crafts are never that simple. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to even out the base coat. Very orange. I'm so glad I'm not working with glass ornaments, because given how shaky my hands are tonight, that would just not be fun. Okay. Now it can dry without touching anything. Ah, it's magic. Oh, let's see. Let's see what the bottle actually says it is. I can find it. It says vivid orange. So this camera, my webcam camera, is not very color accurate at all. In fact, no, it looks okay over here. But it's much more orange in reality than... Well, you know, I do live in Louisiana, and we have had days that have been 70, and we've had days that have been 50. We've had days that were beautiful and sunshiny, and we've had days that have rained all day. So it's really kind of a crapshoot as to whether or not we could do something like this outside, or if that would be a bad idea. I'm gonna get real sassy. And while I wait for our satsuma to dry, I think I'm gonna do a... So I'm trying to decide with the frog how I want to do the frog. I definitely want to do a base coat, because I think a base coat of white is gonna make doing everything else a lot easier. And like I have in my thumbnail here, we're gonna have green at the top and then cheeks. Now the thing about the frog is this is satin, so satin has a little bit of a sheen, but hopefully not too much, and hopefully it'll take my pencil. Now if I weren't streaming this and it weren't night, what I would do is I would paint it with our satin, and then I would use my matte finish to give it some more tooth. But we're doing it on stream, so we'll see. We'll see how far along I get with this one. It touched! Scree. It's not fun. Oh yeah, I'll totally just get a portable airbrush. Those aren't about $150, and I'll totally use one of those every day. I totally do not have the Copic ABS system that I've used a grand total of no times yet because I'm a little afraid of it. No. Super easy. Oh, and when I'm done, I can just give it to my younger brother who does Gundam models. He's over watching the chat in the other room, and I bet he's like nodding his head like, yeah, you go buy that expensive thing and donate it to me, yeah. Probably all for that. Hey Doodles, good evening. Okay, so like I said, while I wait for the satsuma, I've started to dry. I'm gonna start on the frog, and I know frogs are not very Christmassy. I like frogs, and Joseph initially suggested I do a frog. Maybe I'll get like real sassy and make a Santa hat out of felt. I do actually have felt for a different project I want to do. I've seen people make like little 2.5D. They're almost like flat dolls out of felt of their original characters, and I thought it would be really fun to do Kara and Naomi and then release the patterns. So I bought some felt for that. I also love rain at night, and it's been so rainy here lately, and I've had to do all these. I'm still actually in the middle of doing them. I just got kind of fed up with them. I'm doing these paper crafts that I'm releasing every day, and they're, on my end, they're watercolor, and then you cut them out and you assemble them into something 2.5D that you can pose. And the rain here has not only made the watercolors take way longer to dry, so they're, cheap paint smells so nasty, and it's like getting all gluey on my brush. That's not fun. Words about watercolor, yeah. Anyway, it's just been increasing the dry times pretty significantly. I mean, honestly, if you got it, like if you have an airbrush system, you should, and you want to use it, you should totally use it. You can get really nice soft gradients with an airbrush that you wouldn't necessarily get doing like painting acrylic by hand, and you're going to get a much more even coverage too. But the problem with an airbrush system is it is expensive, and I kind of wanted this to be a very accessible craft that people on a low budget could afford to do. I think there are plenty of very expensive crafts that require you, demand that you buy a bunch of stuff that you might only use. I don't know that I can get both of them on here without it touching, so I may have to hold it for a minute. Very expensive crafts that require you to buy specialty materials. And for December, I've been trying to do a lot of Christmas themed videos that use very inexpensive materials and very accessible materials, because I know a lot of people are going to be kind of just stuck at home this year, and they can't travel to go see family, or it's dangerous to go see family. So I wanted to make a bunch of art and craft tutorials that people could do with just what they already have or what's really accessible. Yeah, this one's gonna be a frog, and that one's gonna be a satsuma. But of course, the bane of all of my streams is the dry times. I see some uneven coverage, so I'm just gonna put some on the brush and just smooth it out. I might actually have another little, Becca! I might have another little easel like this in another room. Yes, one could use an airbrush, but you could also use what's known as an atomizer, where you just, it's like a bent metal pipe, I own 2 of them, and you put it in like whatever pot of watercolor, like you could even do something super tiny like this, and you basically just it, and it's like $6. But tell you what, you take up me buying a cheap $60 airbrush with Joseph. I'll let y'all argue that. He's Minister of Finances in this house, because I am way too easy to convince to buy any old garbage. I want to get, see, even if I, okay. All right, that's thinking with your needle. They cannot touch. Ah! They touched! Ah! I just wanted to set it somewhere where I could, actually, I got no transfer, so that's good. What I was trying to do was I was trying to raise it up high enough that there's no way it would touch the orange. so that they could both dry on my beautiful, expensive, bespoke drying rig from Dollar Tree. Move it over a zhuzh. Okay. I do have some orange transference, not really that big of a deal. I'm gonna let these two dry, and I have some cream transference as well, but I'm gonna give this one another coat and that one another coat, so it doesn't really matter. I am going to go and give this a chance to dry, and I'm gonna come back. Didn't know I was streaming this week, so it was a nice surprise. Painting company is always welcome. Well, like I said, I had planned on doing a stream on Friday, and then the delivery company that is supposed to be delivering volume 2 was like, hey, we're gonna deliver the books Friday. They're gonna come sometime between 12 and the latest will be 5:30. So we basically canceled all of our plans, had family come over to come help with the books because we're gonna store the books in their storage unit. And the company never showed, never called, nothing. So we're like, okay, well maybe they're gonna do it Saturday. I mean, things happen, maybe they got backed up. Joseph tried calling them on Saturday, nobody answered the phone, we never heard from them. So I was like, well, I'll stream on Sunday. I had a migraine all day today, I'm still kind of on the edge. But I really wanted to do these painted ornaments. I've been doing those paper child activities all week, and in fact, when this stream is over, I have another one I have to paint tonight. I'm kind of saturated with them, and I kind of just wanted to do something that was fun and cheap and accessible that wasn't painting paper children. So I was like, all right, even though I don't feel great, we're gonna do a stream tonight. We'll see how it goes. I have a migraine, so migraines always make me a little weird. Well, you guys know how when you have a migraine but you don't have the pain anymore, but you definitely know you still have a migraine. That's what I have right now. But it was really important to me this year to try and do a bunch of Christmas tutorials because I never get to do Christmas tutorials. And also because I knew a lot of people were going to be stuck at home this year, I wanted to do some stuff to kind of keep them company. So it was really important to me to do this anyway. And I figured if I didn't do it tonight, it wasn't going to happen. Thank you! I'm a reindeer! So I'm waiting on these to dry. I'm going to go see if I can find another plate stand so I don't have to risk our ornaments touching each other, and I'll be right back. I'm also going to turn on my fan because that's going to help with air circulation, because I actually am working in a fairly small office space and it doesn't really necessarily get the best air circulation, and that can affect the dry times as well. So I'll be right back. Also gonna get a cup of water. couldn't find another. I know I have another somewhere, but I didn't feel like digging for 30 minutes to find one. So, oh, I was gonna turn the fan on. I'm sorry. And also, those acrylic paints are gonna dry on the palette. Yes, I know that. I actually took acrylic painting classes in college. I don't care. Haven't used this palette in many years, and if I ruin it, that's fine with me because at least it will have gotten used somewhat. Also, it's acrylic. I can probably peel it off the plastic. But you're right, if it was ceramic or porcelain, it would be no problem at all. And Joseph's talking about the ship bob. That's like a whole nother thing right there. Allie, okay. Sorry, just getting caught up on the chat. That's not what I wanted. Okay, that should help with the dry times because these are still tacky to the touch, and I really don't want to be here for 5 hours painting plastic Dollar Tree ornaments. That's just not, that's not a good time for anybody. Not a good time for y'all, not a good time for me. Watching paint dry is never that fun. And same with this palette, like I got this in a 6-pack from Dollar Tree. Don't care if I ruin it. That's why I'm using cheap, different brushes than I normally do. Don't care if I ruin those. We'll grab, just in case, some paper towels. And you can see the plastic balls gently swaying in the wind. The fan is on full blast. I mean, if I had like foam or coated plastic plates, could use that too. When I was in college and I was taking acrylic classes, I used to use a gray cafeteria tray because there were some areas where I had lots of room to mix and then areas where I could do small amounts of mixing. I didn't necessarily like the big expanse, and he really didn't spend a lot of time telling us what materials to buy, so it was all internet and trial and error, and then him coming up behind me and being like, why are you using a cafeteria tray? That's weird. Because I don't care if I ruin it. Oh, I don't know if I have 5 hours. I'm very flattered. It's very sweet of you to say that. I don't know that I have 5 hours in me. And yeah, acrylic theoretically, especially cheap acrylic like this, should definitely dry faster than watercolor, depending on what paper you're painting on and depending on other atmospheric occurrences. I mean, if it's a super humid night, ain't nothing drying, doesn't matter. I also want to point out that the bottles of paint I'm using are incredibly cheap. They're like $1 each or less. So these are not high quality acrylics. Wasn't looking to buy high quality acrylics. I've done that in a past life. Not doing it for this. You don't always have to use the most expensive things to do a quality job. Sometimes simple is where it's at. I mean, something I've kind of discovered from these streams and from teaching is that a lot of my audience, it might say they're adult women 30 to 36, but it's a lot of kiddos watching YouTube on their parents' accounts. So it's nice to have projects that they can afford to do. I remember we didn't really have a lot of stuff on the internet when I was their age. Certainly not a lot of tutorials. So I would buy like books from Michael's, the how-to books, you know, and they always made it look so promising and so easy. And then you look at the materials list and what they're calling for and what the end result looks like, and you're like, whew, I can't afford that. I get $5 a week allowance. And some of that has to go to the collection plate at church. I also could be doing a better job painting this. 5 sure. This might need another. See, this could have really benefited from like a spray ground, like a white spray ground, or like white gesso. Oh, you're painting minis. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, Allie, I'm so sorry. And especially with COVID, that means you either had to send your husband out for something, or, which he would do. I know he would do that for you, but I still know how frustrating that is too. Or you ordered it online special, which is, oh, so frustrating. Or you had to do it yourself. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hopefully you have enough. Oh yes, you definitely need another coat. Hopefully you have enough to go around. Thank you, India. I appreciate that. I try to make it entertaining. What's funny is the days I have migraines, I somehow manage to be funnier and more entertaining than the days I feel good. I think it's because my, I don't know the polite language for this, so I'm just not going to say it. My self-censorship bar, I don't know, my care-o-meter is much lower when I have a migraine, so I'm just like, whatever, I'll say whatever. Whereas when I don't have a migraine, I'm always second guessing myself and like trying to be very careful. Oh, well. Just smoosh it all over that ornament. I could use water and wipe it off. It's a good thing I'm wearing sweatpants. It's a shame they are white sweatpants and I will probably ruin them. I thought about doing this in my dining room where I have like that larger table that I could work on. And then I also thought about doing this outside because I have these folding tables outside. But I didn't. So, you know, give that a second to dry off. But basically I just wiped it off, like the deposit of paint, and then I wiped off the residual paint with some water. Could be an orange frog. Yeah, exactly. So these are cheap enough that I think a lot of parents wouldn't have a problem buying them for their kids. Now, if you're painting along at home at Walmart, the packs, like the one I showed you earlier, you basically get 2 bottles of paint for free. So those are a pretty good deal if you want to get a lot of colors rather than, you know, buying a bunch of individual colors. Some of these are left over from Halloween when I was going to paint a pumpkin, and some of them I picked up. Actually, I only picked up 2 colors specifically for this stream, a red and a green, just in case I decided to paint holly berries. Man, these handshakes are no fun at all. Not fun, not one bit. Now, what I really don't like about these paints, they're okay for the most part, but there's some additive in them that is like Elmer's glue, and it gets wet and it gets soapy and slimy on my brush, and it makes this otherwise very comfortable brush annoying to handle. Gonna get it on my hands, gonna get it on my hands, good thing I don't care. It doesn't really matter if I stain my hands, they're dirty with paint and ink all the time. Do 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 do. I don't care no more, I don't care no more. Actually, I do care, I want this to look cute when it's done. That's one thing. I don't mind making mistakes, but gosh, I hate wasting my time. And by that I mean, if I cheap out on something and I don't at least give it the one, you know, a full cheek of attention, then when it looks bad later on, I'm mad at myself because I wasted all that time. Oh, something else is that if you're not familiar, please don't leave your brushes in your cup of water. That will ruin your brushes. And even if you're using cheap brushes, you want to get as much use out of them as possible. All right, looking okay. Man, dipping that would have been so much easier, I'll tell you. I agree with y'all there. Or spray paint, so much easier. I do agree with you. And you can get matte spray paints. It is the truth. Couldn't stream it quite the same way though. I really wish I could have found that other stand. I know you'll manage, Allie. You always do. But I also sympathize with your plight. Man, that's so frustrating. Especially if it's like on a surface where you can't even salvage or scavenge what you had. Now I could actually hang this, and I'm going to, from the camera and just allow it to, hey Nisa, good evening. Allow it to slowly come into view if it so decides. Oop. Yeah, those phthalos are incredibly staining. They sure gotta... Why is AccuWeather sending me weird spam? Spray paint is not kid-friendly, no. Although as a kid, I did used to spray paint my Halloween pumpkins under parent supervision. But that was also like outside on the grass. So I think it's time for a clean cup of water, because this one has taken on the appearance of delicious banana milk. And I'm waiting for paint to dry anyway, so I might as well. feel kind of bad. Sorry, going into what Indy said. One time I talked Mom into buying Tombow markers for her daughter because of a 5-year-old brother. You know, I feel kind of bad for the daughter because the Tombow markers are an acquired taste, and if you wanted alcohol markers, the Tombow markers are not going to cut it. And having a younger brother myself, much of my life has been dictated by his wants and needs and desires without much going in the opposite direction. So I always have a soft spot for older sisters who are expected to sacrifice much for their younger brothers. Not that I don't love my brother, I do. It's just, man, there was an article the other day, and I apologize because I cannot remember what country it was, but they did a study and they found that children with older sisters in this like one area of Africa develop language skills at a much earlier age, and it's because the older sisters are spending all their extra time teaching their younger siblings how to talk. And I think you would probably find something similar in the US because I taught my younger brother how to read at 4. And I didn't mind it. I was bored, so you know, I thought it was fun. But like if I'd been expected to do it, it wouldn't have been as fun. And they were also talking about how this may be detrimental to the older sisters' own studies because they're spending that time teaching their younger siblings instead of focusing on themselves, which was not, I was not that generous. I tutored my brother a lot, but it was never at the expense of my own studies. But I do think older sisters are expected to do second mothering a lot, and I have mixed feelings about that, frankly. Because it's not like anybody asked them at the time if they were cool having a younger sibling. Okay, so I think I'm going to do Christmas tree green on the cap for the satsuma. And then that way if I get any, cross your fingers that I don't, but if I get any on the orange body, I can just cover that back up. I don't know. Being an older sibling is, you know, the younger ones always act like it's such a special treat because you get more privileges than them, but you really don't. You basically are the training wheel child for your parents while they figure out how to parent. And you tend to get privileges a lot later than your younger siblings do because you're basically like the test kid. I'm the oldest, so I'm biased. Okay, you're going to use this empty tape dispenser and to very carefully, fingers crossed, paint some green onto our satsuma. I was also the second oldest cousin on my mom's side of the family, so I also spent a lot of time babysitting and taking care of my younger cousins. Often not asked, it was just assumed that I would because I was the girl. I loved them all, but I wish somebody would have paid me. Or thought to. Like, maybe I don't want to do this for free. I do actually want kids of my own, but not everybody does. So I think it's kind of wrong to just assume that one child is going to look after all of the others. And that, oh, you're doing them a favor because it's free practice on how to be a mom. Teaching can be a practice of one's own knowledge, but as somebody who teaches 10-year-olds, I'll definitely tell you there are times when I don't necessarily need to some of the skills I'm teaching. And when I was teaching my younger brother how to read, I was already a pretty strong reader. So I don't think it was really doing me any favors. And I think for many of these older sisters teaching their younger siblings how to talk, it is no favor to themselves. Maybe they're just doing it so they'll have someone to talk to, though. I don't know. Basically what I'm saying is it's not, a lot of it is a sacrifice that is not necessarily rewarded, and you can kid yourself into thinking it is, but it's not. It doesn't, words. That doesn't make it not worthwhile. But it does still make it a sacrifice. And it's a sacrifice you're making out of love. But it should be one you have a choice in and not one that's just demanded of you. And I mean, that's the cultural norm for them. But their own educational needs should also be met and not sacrificed so that their siblings can have better. Certainly not without those girls having an active choice in that matter. I mean, many of us would do it out of love. I was basically raised by a babysitter, and I spent a lot of my time very bored there because there was nothing to do. So I would teach the younger kids, like I would work on language skills with them, work on shapes, work on numbers and stuff. You know, if I'd had any other activity I could have done, I might not have done that, but I was very bored, so it was something to do. Okay, all right. Our satsuma stem is coming along. All right, okay. That's how I feel, Indy. It is kind of a form of abuse if it's taken too far, because you're basically disregarding the other child's needs and interests, and you're basically using them to raise your other children, and that's not, in just my opinion, that's not fair. Hello. I'm over here talking too much about being an eldest child, and I'm still wet, and the expectations parents unfairly place on eldest children.
Should Devin be hearing this? Should I turn it back on?
No. I mean, he can. I'm not afraid if he hears it. He knows I taught him how to read.
Yeah.
I don't even know if all moms love the younger child more. I was just saying they tend to take the eldest daughter for granted sometimes. Okay, I gotta wait on the frog to dry, because he's still wet. Whew. Right. I understand that that's why you talked her out of alcohol markers due to the fumes, and that the younger brother would get into them. But on the other hand, maybe the mom should keep a better eye on the 5-year-old, and the elder daughter shouldn't be expected to have to constantly chase her younger brother out of her space. Of course, I have a younger brother. He's in the other room right now visiting us, and I was constantly chasing him out of my space, and I wasn't allowed to lock my doors. So on the other hand, though, I had a lot of sewing equipment that he knew not to go into, because he knew if he got into it, he was going to get in trouble by my parents. So as long as I kept it up and out of his direct, immediate access, and as long as he knew that there was a penalty on the other side, we were good. But not every family works that way. I just feel bad for the older one, always having to do with it, because I am sure you're not the first well-meaning adult to talk her parents out of buying her something because her younger sibling might get into it. I say that having been the elder sibling. We didn't get internet until I was 14 for the same reason. I gotcha. There's a 5-year difference between me and my younger brother, and there's only 2 of us, and my mom talks about wanting more, and you know, I can respect that, but it was expected, because both of my parents worked, it was expected that I would spend a lot of my time keeping an eye on my brother, who had very much a mind of his own and didn't listen to me so well. So I can only imagine how nutty I would have been if I'd had to raise 2. Still wet. I mean, I might be like a really weird specific case too, because my younger brother and I both have some learning and emotional disabilities, and it was already very stressful for me dealing with my own, and then I was expected to be a good big sister, and I just didn't feel emotionally prepared to be able to deal with that, because I didn't know how to deal with it for myself. And actually, helping my brother with some of his stuff when he was younger helped me become a more mature and more compassionate person. But a lot of it was basically trial by fire. And I know no families are perfect. And maybe I would have loved having other siblings. I don't know. My family was such a mess when I was growing up that I don't think I would have. Just because I would have loved them, obviously. But I mean, I think it would have been incredibly stressful for me, given our family situation. Whew, did not mean to get into all that. No one asked for it. Of course, you know, there's all this, you can do a lot with digital art these days that wasn't accessible, wasn't an option, I guess, when I was a younger artist. So, you know, just because you don't have alcohol markers doesn't mean you are deprived as an artist. It just means you don't have alcohol markers. Please dry, Mr. Frog. I mean, to also be fair, I would not, at a store, I wouldn't offer this unless asked. But I do generally advise parents in my videos to not allow their kids to use alcohol markers without supervision, because some of the fumes on some of them are enough to give me a real raging headache. So I can only imagine what that must be doing to a younger brain. Shoot, I can only imagine what that must be doing to my brain. Ah, it's still damp. I have to be careful with this thing because it's still wet. Oh, fair enough. I hate them. So I'm over here like, I feel so bad for that child. I don't like water-based markers all that much anyway. Okay, what do I want to do? Wow. It does not want to mark. But I can get it to mark kind of lightly. And that is because, as you can see, it is a satin finish. So it's got no tooth, basically, or very minimal tooth to it. I'm going to have it come down in the back. And I don't like them because I like to do like a million layers, and they have a tendency to tear up the paper with the way I handle them. So I'm just not that into them myself. To each artist their own. And I actually don't care if I'm scratching through a little bit because I can always cover it up. And this is where the green is going to be, so I'm just subdividing the face to help me place the eyes. And I apologize because it is really difficult. Wow, Becca, you're super smart. Let me move you way over here to Orange Land. Words. I apologize. I know it is pretty challenging to see it, but I can see it, and that is what is important today. This is going to be a little hard because I don't have the best spatial measurements. So I'm eyeballing it, which is not super great. I'm also wondering, so if I was doing this and it was daytime and I wasn't streaming, I would have sprayed this again with my matte and let it dry in the sun, ideally, and that would give me a fresh tooth to do this with. Oh man, now I can't decide what kind of eyes I want to do. I'm probably going to end up painting over this with green. And I think I'm going to do yellow or golden eyes with a black iris. Little foam tongue or felt tongue or paper tongue glued right here would be really cute. Kind of looks like Sergeant Frog. Just need the hat. Gunso Kirero. And probably nostrils when I can. Okay. All right. So I have probably an impossible to see face drawn onto my frog. Now I could do a really cute teal. It's like a very light blue-green. That would be pretty cute. But instead, I'm gonna do lime green. I think that's probably a color more people associate with frogs. Oh, I could do a red-eyed tree frog. Yeah, cameras can be really hard to do good color accuracy with for video. We used to do color grading on all the videos, but that was very time expensive, and I don't know. I guess I didn't feel like it really made the difference that I wanted it to. And I also used to do duplicate reviews on my blog with photos that were more color accurate. I do actually take photos and sometimes scans of my swatches, sorry. Migraine brain doesn't want to let me paint and talk. Now what I do if I'm buying something based off of a review is I check to see what Wet Canvas has to say about it, and I'm sure you use Wet Canvas all the time, so because they tend to be a little bit more sticklery about accuracy. I mean, some of their photos just are downright terrible. You can tell some of them don't know how to use a smartphone or a camera, but they'll usually kind of talk about it in their forum post. Something else you can double check is like if it's Winsor and Newton, you can go online and check out the swatches on their website. Specifically their website, because they have digitized paint swatches for most of their products. And that can make a really big difference in accuracy. And some art supply stores in person will have physical swatches that have then been laminated. Sorry. I know I make weird noises. That have then been laminated so that you can better cross-check. I mean, I understand if you're ordering online, color accuracy is just, it's crapshoot, frankly. And I'm going to do another coat on the green as well. And I'm going to have to take this fine fellow after he's dried. So I may not even finish him on stream. I may end up finishing him in the standalone tutorial, because I'm going to have to take him outside and spray him with spray matte before I can start doing anything with POSCA, because this is already not wanting to stick because there's not any tooth for it to hold on to. And I can also see how kind of sloppy my brush work is. Gotta be careful. Oh, found an area I didn't even get. Yeah, he's definitely gonna need another layer. And for POSCAs to stick, they really like a little bit of tooth, so you do need to have like spray mat on there. It is a really amazing color. There's some colors that claim to basically be a light fast version of opera pink without being opera pink, but I find they're not as brilliant as the actual real deal. So it becomes kind of this unfortunate situation where you have to decide whether or not you're willing to sacrifice the light fastness and thus the display options of the finished piece, or if you're willing to sacrifice the opera pink for something that is going to be a little bit more permanent over the years. I mean, everything I do for the most part was done just for reproduction, unless I'm taking a commission, and then I will, you know, I'll try to use light fast materials, or at least disclose to the customer and find out what they want me to use, because sometimes they're like, no, I want those colors anyway. Maybe I should have done, it's gonna be hard to do that now. I should have done it. Can I turn it any old way? I think that's better. Figuring out how I want to resolve something in a three-dimensional form is always kind of the tricky thing. Now I have nowhere to put them. How long is Devin staying with me? Just for the night. Just need to get some space. It is nice that we can see family more easily, but it also, I mean, they're in our pod, if you know what I mean. So it also means choosing to see family basically means for the time being we can't see anybody else, which is what it is. It's fine, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna let my frau go dry, and hopefully we can start doing something with the satsuma. So I think there we go. Okay. What I want to do I wonder if my stream is having internet problems tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if so, because it seems like everything went dead. Well, until it tells me otherwise, I will continue. So I'm going to mix some of our two oranges. I do not like how soapy that gets. Yeah. Well, you know how it is with paint. It does dry darker than it goes down initially. And what I'm doing is I'm basically just creating a highlight. And I'm sure this won't actually look like a satsuma because satsumas are kind of more oblongy than this. This is kind of round. Give this credit, it is going faster than some of the videos we've done, some of the live streams we've done together. When we were doing the Northern Lights, it's really meant to be like very quick and immediate, and if you spend too long doing it, it can get really overworked. And it was a 3-hour stream, so it definitely got kind of overworked. You could, if you want to, even draw like a cute face on your wintry satsuma. Down here in Louisiana, they fruit. Citrus trees fruit down here. And you see so much wasted food because people, I guess they don't know what to do with it. Why would you have a tree that bears fruit and then not care what you do with it? I don't know. But they'll just let it drop and go to waste. And I mean, some of those trees have not been maintained, so the fruit is probably not in very good condition to begin with. But it's just such a waste of food. My mom has a kumquat tree, and she doesn't really care for kumquats. So Joseph and I pick the kumquats and do stuff with them. I mean, I don't particularly like kumquats all that much, but I do like the idea of eating something I've grown. So, you know, I'll deal with it. I've seen some people do some really beautiful painted ornaments with like winter scenes and like deer and hare. Just really impressive stuff. So I'm absolutely, positively not pretending like this is anything at all like that. It's just hanging out, chatting, maybe a little bit of easy painting. Okay, so I've done kind of a mottled, spotted, knotted, no, technique. So lightweight. It actually didn't have that much of a detrimental effect, so that's good. No. This dual recording is always a whole trick. A whole entire something. Whoa, whoa. I don't like this lavalier mic. It always gets wrapped up in like everything. Sorry. Our family also is in our pod. Sometimes I'd rather see friends. At least the internet exists, I guess. Yep, I get that. Well, so the thing is, I have a lot of like old friends who still live here that I would love to see and get caught up with, but they all have their own family pods, and since I'm kind of new back in town, you know, I'm not really in the pod, which is fine. Like, I'm not really in the pod. So, yeah, I would like to see friends also. It gets kind of lonely. Especially because I would really like to do collaborative art stuff with people. I have missed that for a really long time. And, it's still something I really miss. And these streams are really nice, and they do sort of scratch the itch. And I also teach an online, well, it's not really teach, I co-host an online art club for the St. Charles Parish Library. And that's been really fun because we do it through Zoom. So I actually get to see what they're working on, and I get to see their faces and stuff. And people have asked me to turn on the video chat option in our Discord server. And I really legitimately have been considering it. And I'm really leaning towards doing it for patrons because I can trust them not to post something just like totally rule breaking in an all ages server and then be like, but why am I in trouble? So I feel like I wouldn't have to like be there 100% of the time. So it is something I think I will do for the new year. And sure, for many of you, spoons are short this time of year. Between family things and COVID things and Christmas in general things and mental health things. And health, because, you know, when the weather gets colder, a lot of people start having more intense health problems, whether it's arthritis or colds or the flu. So even if I think it's a good idea now, it's, man, anything new, I always have to think about it forever. I always have to like really deliberate over it. And it's honestly because as someone with ADHD, I have a really impulsive personality, and it has caused so much pain when I was a child that it has basically scared me out of most impulsive behaviors, which also means that if an opportunity comes, I don't take it because I'm going to be thinking about it for 2 weeks. So I feel like this fella is going to end up with so many coats of paint that I'm going to have to let him dry overnight at some point because I'm not going to be able to do anything else with him. It's probably better if I overshoot the eyes a little bit. Hey, Bidoof. Hey, Milani. Good evening. Yeah, Ornaments. Oh, rose apples. I've heard those are really good. Fruit Explorers talked about them before. Aw, I'm sorry they yell at you for that. I don't know why they just let good food go to waste. Hello.
How long do you think you're gonna be getting?
Why? Are you hungry?
When dinner was gonna happen.
Green Willy, it's a frog, but it's gonna end up looking like Sergeant Frog, I think, not on purpose. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not like my husband and brother want to know when food is going to be. Joseph's willing to cook, so it's not like he's like demanding I go cook. No, it's not that done yet. It's not that cute yet. It does. If I had the hat, I'm not making the hat. But if I had the hat, it would look like Sergeant Frog.
Devin can be in charge of the hat.
Devin can make the hat,
I
yeah.
have the hat like that. I have the hat Becca made for me.
I gotta close the door, okay?
Yeah, please do. I don't like people to knock on my door for no reason, so I don't knock on other people's door. You could leave a note, but yeah, I know what you mean. I don't like that either, actually. I think because I tend to like be in my own little world a lot, so I don't like being yanked out of my own little world too often. All right, so for our orange satsuma friend here, he's drawing fast, which I appreciate your cooperation. Thank you. That would be fun. That's one of the reasons I'm doing I have been doing the Monday afternoon chill streams, is it's just kind of like an art date. Mixing and trying to get an orange. Doop boop a doop a doop. Boop boop. Told y'all, migraines make me weird. I am also hungry. Joseph's gonna do eggs and sausage for dinner. My younger brother is diabetic, so that seems like something we can feed him that is low carb, although high fat. But his doctor said he can have high fat stuff as long as it's low carb, so. You know, these would be fun to do, like really impressionist. Get Van Gogh with it. Could buy a bunch and do a bunch of different fruits and vegetables, like an apple and 2 for cherries. Be pretty cute. So even if that seems like a bit of an extreme transition, which it does seem like a bit of an extreme transition, you can always like go back onto it and start painting your middle orange. So if I ever, and I think I've said this before, but it always bears repeating, if I ever just like turn and like glare at the monitor, I'm not mad. My eyesight's atrocious. So I'm reading the chat. Oh, y'all don't have a bad view. The secondary camera's view is not super duper. If only I could coerce Joseph into editing this video. But he told me I get 2 a year, and I used probably both of them, frankly, because he did the Kickstarter video and then he did the gift guide, so probably used my 2. I have mad respect though for people who like edit their own videos and put a lot of time and energy into it, because that's an art form in and of itself. want the bottom to dry so I can break some of that darker orange up too with our mid-tone orange. Seriously, I'm so hungry. I had a Soylent for lunch today. It does take so long. It's also kind of boring and tedious. You have to pay attention, but you don't want to. So, since there's more faces in here than when I first said this, I think for tomorrow's chill stream, we might do that $5 manga kit from Five Below. And by we, I mean, I think I might have coerced Joseph into doing it, but we'll see, because he really doesn't like doing drawing stuff on streams because he says it's not fun. I think it is because he is not the best drawer, but I also frankly don't think anybody watching cares that he's not the best drawer. Like, I think y'all are fine with that. Spent half an hour. Yeah, right? Right? Yeah, that one in-joke that is like, this is the best joke I have ever joked. This is so funny. And then nobody laughs at it. Not because it's not funny, but because that's just Murphy's Law of editing anything. Anything you have spent a significant amount of time putting into your video will not land. Okay, parts of this are dry and parts of it are not. I think I'm going to attempt to do his eyes. We'll see. I will probably end up borking the... oh yeah, the underside's still tacky. Hang him on his little stand. He will not do it. He will, I promise you, he will not do it. He hates editing. Every time he edits my stuff, which I'm grateful for, by the way, he then spends, like, after he's finished, he then spends an hour talking about how much he hates editing, which I can't blame him. It's very tedious. Might end up using just plain old yellow for the highlights on my satsuma. Yeah, that's sad. I'll admit it. That's sad for you. Man, the internet is just a whole thing, isn't it? I kind of have a rule when it comes to stuff that it's the same rule I have for my convention table, that I only do things I'm interested in doing for the most part. And a lot of that is because if it isn't popular, if it flops, at least I will have spent my time on something I like doing instead of, you know, spending a lot of time on something I hated. Sorry, the green is dry in some places and then still wet in others. And I'm trying to figure out how to, like, keep this stream moving while also making progress and not getting it all over the place. People keep telling me I should do my videos, but like for TikTok, on TikTok. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. And like, I kind of want to, but I'm also like, why? So I can do poorly on TikTok. I think because I just don't have like probably the right TikTok sense of humor. Oh boy, these don't like water. I probably don't have like the right sense of humor for YouTube or for TikTok. That is gonna need another layer super bad. We've veered away from Sergeant Frog and have gone back into red-eyed tree frog territory. He's so splotchy, but I kind of don't care. Oh boy, that's like nightmare fuel right there, isn't it? Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've seen, as an old who doesn't use TikTok herself, because I thought it was going to get banned, and I'm like, there's no point in getting attached to something that's going to get taken off the App Store anyway. And then nothing happened. But I have seen videos on Twitter that were originally on TikTok. And it's like a lot of smash cuts, which seems like it would be fun to experiment with doing. I love the satsuma. It just dries so much faster than its foggy counterpart. There we go. Get some good old yellow. So, legit question. When they're editing videos for TikTok, are they editing them in a separate video editor on their phone? Are they editing them in TikTok provides like a native editor? Or are they bringing them onto their computer to edit them to then bring them on to TikTok? TikToks. I just, given like the core demographic is fairly young, I really can't see them like most of the people using TikTok editing on a computer, because that's expensive and time consuming, and it feels like it encourages off the cuff stuff. Although, you know, the more people do this, the higher expectations are going to be for quality. Oh boy, this is going to be like olds explaining things that they don't know anything about. I think I get the appeal of TikTok because it's just little short clips, and there's like a lot of community involvement and shorter. Yeah, I think my internet connection is awful tonight. I don't know why. Our service provider for this area, because they have a monopoly, is Cox Cable. I think Melanie might know a thing or two about them also, being a fellow Louisianian. And it's terrible, and there's no competition, so good luck. Enjoy your terrible internet service. I mean, you can do dial-up too, and you can do DSL, and all of them are basically through Cox. Or you can do AT&T, which is also horrendous out here. So enjoy your internet, friends. I think I've overworked our satsuma. That's okay. Man, ain't no shame with getting that money. But I know what you mean, and I appreciate your discretion. I mean, I'll also say this. Falling into that category, I feel like I can say this. I feel like wholesome and family content or family-friendly content just isn't as popular regardless of where you're at anyway. So I get it. Like, I watch like Hardy Bucks and Trailer Park Boys. I'm not exactly watching just the wholesome good feels. Although a lot of the stuff I watch on YouTube is pretty all ages, because I like Nile Red, and I like J.A.S. Townsend, and I like Regular Cars, which is, actually no, they are not family friendly, although there isn't a really good justification for why not. Like, yeah. I love Regular Cars, but some of the analogies they use is just like, you didn't have to, though. Okay, all right, second layer coming along, getting acrylic all over myself. Oh, for sure. Do you recognize any? That's why I like it. It reminds me a lot of stuff I've seen around here. You would probably like Hardy Bucks too then, because it's very similar. I got some green in there, but I don't care. I cannot really comment on how these paints handle, because they're like $1 a bottle, and I feel like I'm getting what I paid for, so you know. It's going to be weird if I don't use the POSCA. I mean, not weird, but like just weird to me that I was like, I'm going to use POSCAs on these things and then not use POSCAs at all. I feel a presence has come to nag me about food.
Yeah. You have no estimates?
I'm getting there. It really kind of depends on the dry time. That's, I don't know if you've been watching the stream in the other room, but that's really been the big. My own brother will not watch my stream.
Well, he watched some.
That's okay. I'm just messing. I honestly, it doesn't hurt my feelings either way. Words. I would say I have about 15 minutes-ish of work in this left, but it's really just about the dry time.
Okay. I might start then.
Okay.
It's going to take at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all are hungry. I am also le hungre.
Maybe smelling sausage to speed you up.
That's gonna kill me! Letter Kenny. Did the Ricky have that horrible, wonderful checker shirt? There is dial-up in rural areas, and a lot of that is just a holdover because you got older people who don't really use the internet for anything, and they don't want to switch. And even to that, some of them are like, they just have it so they can check Facebook, say terrible things on next door neighbor, and check their email. So there is still pockets of dial-up, but a lot of them are actually switching over to their cell phones. So it's still an option. You can still get it, but it's not that common. Letterkenny. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. On that note, Charborg. Joseph likes his streams. His streams are fine, but I prefer his tightly edited content, particularly Kentucky. I love Kentucky. I would get a Kentucky poster. Hey, J.E. Illustrations Art. How are you this evening? Yeah, that's probably true. I don't think he really wants to hear me talk about art all that much anyway, though. Which is fine. Alright, I am going to go change out my disgusting water cup. And I'll be right back. And also, honestly, probably get myself a cup of water. Yeah, he does art on occasion. In fact, I think he's a little bit sad that he doesn't get invited to do the Monday streams all that often. Although I was sort of thinking about doing a slime kit, just because I've never made, I mean, I've made slime like when I was in 3rd grade, but it seems like it'd be a fun thing to do. I was kind of thinking about making it from like Elmer's glue and not using a kit, although a kit might be fun too. Kind of just thinking about it. I'm sure all of those like art kits are gonna go on sale right after Christmas. Maybe I can use the POSCAs to do like the fine details on these tomorrow, probably. Sorry. Well, the point of any of those chill streams, other than to like review a kit and actually say whether or not the kit's worth whatever money the kit costs, the point is really just to like hang out and do something. So it almost doesn't, like, as long as I can kind of capture it on camera, it doesn't really matter. Like, okay, for example, as soon as the gingerbread stream ended, I chunked those in the garbage because I don't know if you guys saw me trying to eat a cookie on camera from the nicer set, but those were disgusting. Those cookies were, and I love gingerbread, those cookies were not good gingerbread cookies. I think a couple of y'all actually went to go buy kits after the stream, so I want to see what yours turned out like. They had to have turned out better than ours, because ours were very rudimentary. not a professional construction job for sure. And like the worst part, in my opinion, is that I had watched Anne Reardon's, I want to say it was her 2020 gingerbread house video, like the night before. So I was like, I'm ready to make a gingerbread house. Like, surely if I don't have to bake it, it'll look okay. And if you guys have like specific kits you want to see done or covered, or like specific types of kits, let me know too. I'm kind of just getting whatever looks like it would be fun. But my options are kind of limited, especially with Christmas, because Christmas stores tend to put out a very specific type of kit, the kind that makes a gift, I guess, or the kind that people think will make a good gift. So I'm kind of hoping after Christmas they'll have like some other options available. These are finally coming along. Wait, are you dry? Ah, most enough that I can hold it. Yatta. Okay, gentle hold. Hey, Mary from Texas. I hope you're having a good evening. If I ever try to do a sketchbook tour, I would love to do a sketchbook tour. I've done like Inktober sketchbook tours. Oh my, I may actually have enough, because the thing about, I always had it in my head, and I don't know if this is true or not, you guys tell me. I always had it in my head that if I'm going to do a sketchbook tour, it has to be a finished sketchbook, like all the pages have to be full, and I'm usually working in multiple sketchbooks at a time. But maybe that doesn't have to be the case. Maybe I can do a sketchbook tour where I just show you guys the sketchbooks I'm working in and show you guys what I'm working on and works in progress. So I could definitely do a sketchbook tour. That would be fun. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. I never know, this is awful, but I never really know what people want to see, because I've tried so many different things on the channel over the years, and I would, like, for the people who actually talk to me, I'd rather just focus on what y'all want to see. So I do appreciate suggestions. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just painting like kind of a leafy design on the cap, just so that it's not just green, but it kind of looks like, you know, more than just green. Something else I want to do is I want to use like felt, but you could use paper or foam, like kind of just whatever you have. I'm gonna cut like a leaf and glue it to it, because I think that would be really cute. And my satsuma doesn't really look like a satsuma, it looks like an orange, but that's okay too. Oranges are good and they smell lovely. The Crayola blendable alcohol markers, those are fun. I like them. I would like to see Crayola make more colors or make refills for that too. I'd have no problem sharing my sketchbook with you guys. I ought to do that as a stream. That would be more fun than just like doing a video of it. Ooh, maybe a leaf on the... No, I should just do the foam leaf. That would be cuter. They do kind of look like Tangy in Animal Crossing. Joseph, are you in the chat? If you are in the chat, would you drop the link to the Crayola blendable or Crayola blending marker review I did? And they're kind of weird because they kind of fall... I found some of those 24 per minute markers with alcohol ink at... Oh my gosh. So I have a video on that I haven't even set live. I will give you guys a sneak peek of that. So I'll let this dry. Pause that. Okay, give me a sec. I'll grab a couple videos for y'all. Please don't auto talk. I don't like when it does that. Okay. Oh wait, I gotta... So this first one, I haven't even scheduled it yet. So it's kind of a sneaky peek. Because I bought a bunch of those Five Below markers too, and then I reviewed them and did a piece with them. And I want to share it. Where are you? Where are you? Where did you go? Oh, I'm smelling food. So I will link the Five Below marker video I did first. Oh man, I don't have anything. I haven't even copied over the description for this one yet. Cowbie. Okay. 5 below marker field test. And then Crayola blendables, or Crayola blending markers, sorry. So if you have to order the Crayola blending markers, I would say you're probably going to be happier with Ohuhu markers. Wait, what? Okay, that's part 1. And then this is me actually using them. No, there. All right. Oh, boo, 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 boo. I think I know the one, in fact, I'm pretty positive I know the ones you're talking about because they are but you said a 24 pack. Huh, man, 5 below. You just always coming out with new things. I can't keep up with you. I have the 2 12 packs and the 2 6 packs of 5 below. So for this friendly looking fella, what I want to do is I want to let it dry overnight and then do spray matte, and that's going to give it like a sealant basically, and also a bit of texture. And then I'm going to go into this guy with POSCAs hopefully tomorrow and finish him up. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm actually dual recording this stream, so I am sharing it via live stream with my webcam, but I'm also using my phone over here to try and capture some footage, because I want to also share this as like a time-lapsed kind of more to the point tutorial too, you know, for folks who don't have an hour to learn how to paint their own ornaments. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you want a lot of markers to get started with, Ohuhu is a good starting point. They're pretty decent. I think, and this is my own personal bias because I feel this way, I think you'll be happier with the brush markers because the bullet markers are just more fussy to color with. Like, they're harder to color with. They have a smaller tip, so it takes you longer to color. And they're harder to blend, and I think the brush markers are more fun. But if you're looking for like nicer alcohol markers and you don't mind spending more money, Dick Blick, which is a art supply chain store here in the US, they have their own alcohol markers, the Blick Studio brush markers, and I really like those. They're a lot like Copic markers, but they're like half the price. You can refill them and you can replace the brushes on them, and they've been expanding the color range, so I think those are pretty good, but they're a lot more expensive than the Ohuhu markers, so it might be a little more difficult to convince someone to get you those. That green is just not as saturated as I would have liked. And part of it is these acrylics are not that opaque, which normally wouldn't bother me that much, but it's kind of bothering me for today's project. I'm iffy about Spectrum Noir. Their tri-blend markers are okay. I like those because you basically get 3 markers in one. But in general, I mean, it also depends on where you live, because if you don't live in the US, then the Blick Studio brush markers are not going to be... Gotcha. Yeah, you're not going to probably be able to get the Blick Studio brush markers. Yeah, you can get them from eBay or probably Amazon. Yeah, you can try Copic. Copic, sorry, sometimes I type better than I think, if that makes sense. And for some reason, art supplies are one of those things that I type. I think because I wrote a blog about them for 10 years, makes it a little bit easier for me to just type when I'm thinking. So I have reviews for most of these. So I'm going to drop those in case that helps. The thing is that every artist has different needs. Every artist is going to have a different price point. Every artist is going to have varying access to different things. And so it's hard for me to, well, rather, it's not hard. I don't want to definitively be like, oh, you should get XYZ because they're the best, because that might not be available where you live, and, you know. Or it might be really expensive. Like, sketch markers are I want to say Slovakian brand of marker that I reviewed recently, and I actually like them. They're pretty good, but they're kind of expensive here in the US because they're just not carried. Only Marker Universe has them, I believe. So I'm gonna do one more layer of green on this Froggo, and I'll tell y'all, the flat brush, this gives way better even coverage for filling large areas than the round that I was using. Ooh, I'm gonna get green everywhere, aren't I? Man, y'all. So Copic doesn't have to be industry standard. I would say that Ohuhu isn't necessarily what most artists are going to use for their work. But the thing about alcohol markers is that they're all using not light fast, dye-based inks with solvents that may have a tendency to eventually degrade the paper quality because their solvent is alcohol. So regardless of what brand you're buying, you're still going to have light fastness issues. It's not like with watercolor, where the difference between professional watercolor and student grade watercolor is going to literally be a difference in the quality of your finished piece. With alcohol markers, people are not necessarily going to be able to tell the difference between a piece that was done with Copics and a piece that was done with Prismacolors, or a piece that was done with Blick Studio brush markers or Ohuhu markers, etc. Copics are kind of expensive. I have a boatload of them. I really like them, but I don't think they're the end-all be-all, and I know other industry professionals who would not necessarily say they're the industry standard. I mean, the thing is, alcohol markers are also typically not considered a fine art material. They're considered a graphic art material, And when it comes to creating graphic art, which is for like theoretically most people are working digitally now, but if you were working traditionally still, then a lot of your graphic art is for reproduction. So they don't care about light fastness, and they also don't care if you're using like the nicest markers on the market, because you are probably working from home off your own dime. So it kind of ceases to matter as much as it might with, say, watercolors or acrylics, where you're creating a piece that theoretically might be something still around 100 years from now. So, you know, I feel like saying Copics is an industry standard is a real misnomer. Maybe people on YouTube might say that because they're hoping for a brand deal with Copic, or because they happen to really like Copic, but literally most places don't even want you working in alcohol marker because they want you working digitally, let alone care if you're working with Copic or Ohuhu or whatever. So yes, I know you're hovering. What are you trying to tell me?
Our dinner's ready. Are you ready?
No, I'm not. I'm almost ready, but I'm not quite ready.
Are we eating without?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll be in soon.
Oh, I mean, we can wait on it. It'll be insane.
I hope I'll be in soon. I was basically just doing another layer of green because he's kind of patchy. Sorry. It was actually incredibly distracting having Joseph standing there behind me. Like, I could tell he was there, and it was distracting me the whole time. So anyway, I hope what I said made cohesive sense and wasn't just Becca babbling. Old man babbles at cloud. Ooh, it sounds like you are multi-talented, Mary. All of those are fun to do. Oh, and I didn't even mention Prismacolor, which people love to hate on, but I actually really like them. And I kind of fudged a little when I said people can't tell the difference if you're using one brand or another. If you are using just one brand, different brands do have different color palettes or different color spectrums. Like, for example, Copic is very weak when it comes to yellows, especially yellows that are useful for hair color. They're also kind of weak when it comes to like really good true purples. And some of their pinks and a lot of their teals are just, they don't hit. So what I ended up doing was I ended up buying a bunch of Prismacolors in the areas that Copic is weak, and I will use Blick, Prismacolor, and Copic all interchangeably together. You also will have alcohol markers that have a fiber brush nib rather than a foam rubber brush nib, and the fiber brush nibs, like with the Ohuhus and the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers, those are going to be more prone to just kind of bleeding. They're going to be a little harder to control, and they tend to just die on you faster than the foam rubber nibs. So to me, I can get sharper looking, cleaner looking marker art with my foam rubber brush markers, so my Copics, my Blick Studio brush markers, my Prismacolors, than I can with my fiber markers. Those tend to be softer, more bleedy. So it still just kind of boils down to what kind of art you want to make. All right, I have now talked too much about markers for something that is not at all about markers. I love markers a lot. I've reviewed so many markers. And I think having a lifelong love of art and crafts and the intersection where art meets crafts is wonderful. I think it is a sense of play, and I think it allows us to stay young for longer, and it also allows us to be more receptive to learning other things for a long period of time. So I think the longer you can nurture those various interests, the better. I know when I got into comics, well, really when I got into art with an eye to becoming a professional artist, I kind of let all of my other crafty, arty hobbies die out, because I thought if I just put all that time into comics, I would get good enough. But I see now that I was really cheating myself, and I should have maintained those interests, if only for love, if only because I like doing it. That really is a lifelong love. I'm glad that you're still interested in all of those arts and crafts and arty crafty things, because so many people basically purge that from their lives for whatever reason, and I think we all end up poorer because we've given those things up. Okay, so these are basically at a point where on this stream tonight, I cannot really go much further than that. So for the satsuma, the only thing I really want to do is I want to cut a leaf out of felt and then glue it, probably using E600. I might even attach a bit of wire to the leaf just to give it some structure. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm dual recording, so I'll capture that on the other video. So I want to add a leaf to this, but otherwise the satsuma is mostly done. Turned out pretty cute. You do want to be careful if you paint the wire at the top, because whatever you hang it with will probably scrape it. Although a bit of green ribbon would be really cute for that. And as for my Froggo friendo here, what I want to do is I want to allow it to dry overnight, and then I want to spray some matte fixative on it, and that's going to basically seal it and give it another coat of tooth. It will kind of give it a frosted appearance as well, so you want to be careful how much of that you add. And then I'm going to go in with POSCAs, and I'm going to add further details. So dinner is smelling delicious. I am hungry, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go clean these things up. Right? Dollar Tree's got a lot of really great stuff right now. Like, this is from Dollar Tree, and a bunch of the stuff I'm doing for the paper craft videos came from Dollar Tree. And tiny little glass bottles, you can get those at Dollar Tree now. And they've got paints, although not as big a selection as Walmart does, and which in their dollar paints, I mean. And they've got brushes. They've got all kinds of stuff right now. They've even got wood stuff for like wood burning if you want to do that. So, what am I having? I am having eggs and sausage for dinner, which is like a no-carb dinner, so that'll be good for my brother who's joining us. Anyway, I had a really good evening hanging out with you guys. Words, Becca, words. I had a really good evening hanging out with you guys. I am glad I did this stream, even though I had a migraine from the start. It wasn't like I'd gotten over the migraine pain, but those of you who have migraines, you probably know what I'm talking about, where the pain's not there, but your brain is still kind of a mess and you're still seeing auras and stuff. But I really wanted to do the ornament stream with you guys before Christmas, obviously. So I really didn't see any other day I could do it if I didn't do it today. So I'm really glad I did that anyway. I hope you guys had a good time. Diabetic. I'm looking forward to finishing these up in the secondary video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Very Merry Holidays if I don't see you before then. And if you're looking for more fun artsy craftsy stuff to do, I do have paper craft tutorials going live every day from December 12th to December 25th, so there's a new one every day. That is a whole lot of work, but I hope you guys enjoy it. They also come with free line art that you can print and a free full color image that you can print if you just want to assemble them. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It was wonderful to meet you too. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, May 2020, wow, 2021 be wonderful for you guys. Bye guys.